Centennial Hall here in Juneau, Alaska. We're bringing to you live roller derby action from the Juneau Rollergirls. Good evening, everybody. I'm In DeKline, and next to me is Tyrant Rex, a first-time co-host on roller derby. Thanks so much for joining us, Tyrant.
Thanks for having me. This is exciting.
Yeah, we've got the Brute Rosés going up against Cupid's Crushers tonight in roller girl action. What are you expecting from this tonight?
Well, it's interesting because there's not a lot of new players, and these teams have had one opportunity so far to bout together. So it'll be a little bit more advanced than the match we saw before, but I think it's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it. They've been doing some awesome training.
Sorry, I'm not supposed to touch this. I don't know.
Oh my God.
There's nothing.
No. Andy.
I'm fine.
I
shared a hotel room with Bob Costas. I barely saw him. I think we'll be fine.
Oh, okay. If you feel fine.
I feel okay for right now. We'll see. Matt Lauer's waiting in the wings. But we are also going to be going next to player intros. They're coming up in just a second. We're going to see from all of the girls coming out, and you're going to help with the player intros. You know the girls
I can do that.
really well.
I know the names.
Since you are one of the skaters.
Yes.
Yeah,
Been
all right.
skating since last
So
year.
here they
This is
come.
exciting.
Coming out right now are going to be the skaters, and we're also going to be, of course, hearing the national anthem as well, which is going to be great. Always a nice moment, the beginning of all of these sporting events.
Skate
so
to
here
the
we
heart.
go. Oh, what's coming up for? Yes, it's Skate to the Heart is the name of the bout tonight. A Valentine's themed, and that's one of the reasons why I have this lovely pink themed eye.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Poor Bob Costas. Okay, well, we got the player intros coming up here in just a second, waiting for them to come out. In the meantime, let's talk a little bit about roller derby. Tell us a little bit about the rules. Basically, you've got the girls with the stars on their head. Those are the jammers?
Those are the jammers, and every time, after the first lap, every time they pass a girl on the opposing team, they get a point for that pass. So it's about who can get the most points ultimately.
There's a maximum of 5 points per pass that you'll get. And first coming out here is going to be Cupid's Crushers. They are in white tonight, and in red tonight will be the Brute Rosés. Cupid Crushers are captained by Just Julie.
And here she is right now.
And there she is.
Excellent blocker and knows more about the sport than a lot of people in Southeast Alaska right now. She's a great veteran.
That's absolutely
skier.
right. Fatty Duke. And Fatty Duke, we got a chance to talk to Fatty Duke. You'll see that interview at halftime. She's one of the founding members of Juneau Roller Girls as well. Coming up next, who we got next here?
Number 46, Hawk Block.
Skatey Bright.
Skatey Bright.
Yes.
Number 22. She's one of my favorites. She has the best attitude ever. She did help announce at the last bout as well.
And Hawk Block, one of the newer skaters out there.
This is her second bout, and she is a rock on the track. Very few people can hit her over.
Verta Breaker is next, number 666, and you'll see her jamming, blocking, doing everything out there. She's a mighty mite.
She's awesome.
Then one of our fresh meats out there, 2 buckets, number 76 is out there next.
She's the only
7S,
one tonight.
sorry,
This
7S.
is her very first bout, and it's going to be exciting to see what she does. She might do a little jamming today. We'll see how the bench coaches decide to play things.
Lulu Von Slaughter out there as well, and coming up around is someone that's near and dear to your heart.
Oh, my derby wife as of 2 weeks ago, Shorty Morena, and this is her second bout as well. She is an excellent jammer. She did a lot of figure skating when she was a kid in Argentina. She received her citizenship this year, and she's stoked to be on this team.
Exciting. All right. Peach Clobber, someone you'll be seeing a lot out there. A great jammer, great blocker, a lot of speed, a lot of power out of Peach Clobber. She lives up to her name. And then the bench coaches are Jean-Claude Hotdam, one of the great skaters out there, but she's bench coaching today, and Wildbird is the other bench coach for the Cupid Crushers.
And they are actually also derby wives, so it'll be interesting to see how they play together,
yes,
how they run this team.
We'll have to see how that works out. Then there's the Brute Rosés coming up next. And, we got a little bit of Welcome to the Jungle coming up here. So what do you think about the lineup so far for the Cupid's Crushers? They look pretty tough out there, huh?
They we're going to be looking at a lot of Shorty Morena and Peach Clobber jamming and doing a really great job at it.
Yeah, and a good combination of veteran skaters with some young, fresh legs out there too. And now here come the Brute Rosés. And tell me who they are captained by here.
So we've
Rex.
got Kim Bustable as the captain. She's also an excellent jammer, and she's been skating pretty much since the beginning here. Oh, they've got a great intro. I love this. I love the intros. This is like my favorite.
Hypnagoria is going to be the first one out of the batch here. She's number 00. Well, here's our bench coach though first.
Southeast Manhandler.
Southeast Manhandler, one of our bench coaches, and also T. Tripper, the two bench coaches. All right.
There goes Hypnagoria.
There's
Number
Hypnagoria.
00.
Speedy, fast, as you can see even on the intro. She is flying around there.
This is her second bout as well, and she did a really good job jamming last bout, so it'll be fun to see what she does this time.
Now, we were thinking that Roland Marvel might also be fresh meat, but we think she might have been in one
I think she might have
bout.
had a bout before. She is a toe stop queen. If they put her in jamming, you'll see her doing a lot of work on her toes. It's just natural for her, and she does a great job.
Scara Unitely is next at number 180 there, coming around.
She's had a few bouts.
And then coming up next is Bitter Glitter, number 247.
Her second bout after recovering from an injury. She's doing great.
Titan Young coming up next. She's number 25. Great blocker and a really very fast and great skater. And then the one with the smile on her face at all times, April Mayhem, has the most fun out there, arguably, of anyone skating.
And she's super fun to watch as well. Great jammer.
Here comes Kim Bustable, the captain of the team, number B4U, and that's where she often is when she's jamming. Kylie Wyote is coming up next. Kylie Wyote's number C4.
Great blocker, really good at organizing the pack when she's out there. You'll see her doing a lot of pivot and leading.
And that's the Brute Rosés, and that's a fun. Now we're going to be seeing a lot of April Mayhem, and we'll be seeing a lot of who are going to be the other. Kim Bustable and April Mayhem will be the two jammers to watch.
You might see Roland Marvel and Hypnagoria also out there jamming.
All right, so we were started talking about the scoring as we were doing the player intros there, but there's 5 potential points for every time around the track if you're able to pass all the other players on one team. The other key thing is who's determined to be lead blocker and just the regular blocker.
Whoever's the lead jammer can call off the jam at any time. Otherwise, it'll run for a straight 2 minutes.
Well, we're going to just rise here for a moment and listen to the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, a great rendition of the national anthem there. We were talking about the difference between the lead jammers and the jammer that's not the lead jammer. The big differentiation is the lead jammer has the ability to call the jam at any moment. A jam can be up to 2 minutes long, but it's up to the lead jammer to decide when it's most strategic for them to decide when to call off that jam.
Yes, and they'll usually call it off before the second jammer can get to the pack and score any points. Otherwise, the lead jammer is the first person that breaks out of the pack. And these point scoring, it doesn't have to be someone who breaks out of the pack and goes all the way around. As soon as the jammer passes the hips of a player on the opposite team,
like that? Okay.
Just like you just got my
that?
point.
I got a point.
You got my point.
All right. Well, that was a fun point to get. All right. Well, so that's a really interesting point to make as well. You were saying they'll usually call it before the other jammer can get around, but if the lead jammer is really motoring, sometimes they won't mind as much, and they'll continue around, and that's all part of the strategy. They have to listen to their bench coaches, have to listen to their captains, and have to figure out what to do there as well. Well, we got introductions right now from the refs. We actually got to talk to a couple of the refs who are a married couple as well, and that is Major P. Rick and Miso Nasty. We got to talk to them. Miso Nasty actually coming off of an injury as well, had both a back injury and also a busted leg, and so she's back and skating and looking great out there. It's going to be fun to see her reffing again.
Another ref couple, we've got Chicken Hawk and we've got Catapult Kim. You'll see a little baby running around. That's the reason Catapult Kim is not on skates on the track, and she's actually an inside pack ref.
All right, I see her there. That's great to see her out on skates. And yeah, she is an incredibly skilled and fast jammer when she's out there. Really exciting.
Gosh, I love to watch her skate.
It's really fun to watch
yes,
her. Really fun to watch her
she's
skate.
Great.
All right. Well, we got the setting up here for the first jam, and it looks like Chicken Hawk is getting the sin bin situated in a place that's going to be okay for skating around. The sin bin is for hockey fans. It's the same as the penalty box. And when you get a major penalty called on you, you have to go sit in the sin bin. And that means that your team is shorthanded, and that's a distinct advantage for the other team.
It is, and it's also, it can be advantageous if the players on the opposite team don't see your player re-entering the track. Sometimes you can get a jammer comes right on and sneaks through everybody without them noticing. So.
All right, so coming out speedy out of the sin bin can sometimes be a real advantage and can be a real strategic play.
Definitely a test of everybody's awareness.
Well, great to know. Well, here we are setting up for the first jam. Always a little fun and nerve-wracking here to see the first jam of any bout. Again, there's each period goes for 30 minutes. Every jam can last up to 2 minutes, but can be called at any moment by the lead jammer whenever they decide to strategically do it. And sometimes you'll see these bouts go, even if there is a lead jammer declared, especially if the other jammer's put in the penalty box. That can be a real turning point in a lot of bouts when one of the jammers is put in the penalty box.
And we get a power jam.
And you get a power jam. And so watch for those as well. We'll be calling those out for you at home as you're watching on 360 North or 360north.org. And we're happy to have you with us. So here we go.
We've got Peach here for the Cupids and April Mayhem, I believe, for the Brute Rosés, the Rosés.
And April Mayhem had to go back to the beginning there. She's already gotten passed up by Peach. Peach is going to be declared lead jammer if she gets through these blockers right now. There's been a penalty called on one of the blockers, and lead jammer has been declared for Peach Clobber.
She's cleared the pack. Mayhem is coming in behind her.
And we'll see here. These are two fast skaters, and it's totally not beyond.
And before Mayhem gets to the pack, Peach calls it off with her points.
So Peach got 5 points there immediately, and then knew that April Mayhem had every ability to get through the blockers. She's such a fast skater and so slippery through the blockers.
She's very wriggly. That was a really good call for Peach. That was the smart move.
All right, so with a 9-0 lead right now by Cupid's Crushers, with that extra lap that Peach Clobber was able to get in, it's already a 9-0 lead. Not very many points actually in roller derby, as you'll see as the match and bout progresses here. You'll see lots of points are going to go on that board. Here comes Vertebreaker coming out for
she's lead jammer.
There she goes for the Cupid's Crushers, and
Bustable.
after her is Kim Bustable. So Kim
On
Bustable
her
chasing
tail.
after Kim Bustable, one of the most skilled skaters you'll see.
Woof.
Very
just
seasoned.
goes right through.
Vertebreaker got through quickly with two of the Brute Rosés on the bench in the sin bin. That is meaning that Vertebreaker was able to get through quickly, and she calls the jam.
And I just want to note, too, that if there are players in the penalty box, when the jammer makes a pass, they still get the points for those players, even though they're not out on the track.
So every time around past the sin bench, they're getting 2 points, 2 additional points to the 3
Without having to work for it.
Without having to work for it. So another reason why that sin bin can mean so much to how these bouts sway. 14-2 is now the score, with the Brute Rosés looking to score some points here in this next time around.
Who do we have here?
Who do they have? Is that April Mayhem?
We've got Fatty Duke and April Mayhem.
All right. And we got to talk to both
April
of
on
them.
the
You'll see that interview with them at halftime. Really fun to talk to both of them, both founding
and
members
Fatty is lead jammer.
of the Juneau Rollergirls. Yeah,
They are.
lead
Both
jammer.
of them have so much experience at this point for Southeast Alaska and how Derby is growing here. It's awesome to watch them skate.
But look at April Mayhem makeup time on Fatty Duke, and she's around. But Fatty Duke is looking to lay a block on her.
Oh man, Fatty calls off the jam. Looks like we got 2 points.
Called it off there. She saw April Mayhem kind of on her tail and coming through and about to score some points.
Another good decision.
So Cupid's crushers so far being very strategic about how they're calling these, and as a result have a 14-point lead. 16-2 is now a little bit more points going on the board though now. 16-5 with Cupid's crushers in the lead here. And we're going on now to the next jam.
Looks like we've got Peach on the Cupids against Combustible on the Rosés.
We got 2 people on the bench here in the sin bin. And Skatey
Peach
Bright looks like
Clobber.
is on the sin bin right now.
Peach Clobber takes the lead. Bus is still trying to get out of the pack, and there she goes.
Now this is an opportunity for Peach Clobber to score some points here, and there she's through
She's
the pack
taking it.
very quickly.
Awesome.
That's Peach Clobber, Obi-Wan. Peach Clobber, she's looking over to see if Combustible is scoring.
Combustible's coming
Combustible
through.
did
She's
score, but she had to go back around. She was able to gain track position by going outside of the track, and so she had to go back around and reestablish her track position. Meanwhile, Peach Clobber is coming around and scoring more points. All right. Meanwhile, Combustible comes around. She scores 4 points on this time around.
Peach calls
And
it.
Peach calls it.
I was wondering, she really put up a fight for those points, but in the end, Combustible was coming around
Maybe
pretty fast
waited
there.
a little too long there. I think Combustible picked up a few more points while she was battling.
Yeah, she did. She did. You know, it's hard to know how that's going to play out. Peach
Well,
got knocked out right at the end there.
And it's so hard as the jammer and you're in your own battle to be aware of what the other jammer's doing and to know when to call.
There's so many things to think about. It's really hard to have that kind of awareness.
That's where the bench really comes in and where those bench coaches are really important. They're the eyes and ears of the lead jammer at times. All right, coming up next, we got April Mayhem.
Going against Vertebreaker here.
Going up against
in the
Vertebreaker,
jam.
a good matchup here.
So
And-
even though April didn't get knocked all the way outside the line, her hand and her knee went out. She had to exit the track and come back in behind the skaters that she hadn't scored points on yet.
And that allowed Vertebreaker to become lead jammer. So Vertebreaker once again coming around, having a great bout so far. Vertebreaker scoring points, and right into that wall. Vertebreaker is really fun to watch.
She calls it. Verta calls it. She went for it, though.
She went for it hard and
was
paid a
awesome.
little bit of the price. Going up against the backside of that blocking wall. We got a replay of that hit there coming up in just a moment, you'll see. And here it comes, coming around. And that's April Mayhem going down. And you saw, as Rex was saying, she
Yes.
just went partially out, and that was enough for her to have to go back to reestablish position.
And that's so much time. Having to go out and come back in and cut behind everybody, it really gives the other jammer a huge advantage.
Now, the next jam is coming up here. And this is going to start off as a power jam, I think. Oh, no, it's
Woo!
not.
Go Peach
There
Clobber
we go,
right
Peach
through
Clobber
everybody.
coming up.
We've got Hypnagoria here. She stepped out of bounds. Oh, and that was so close too. When you get hit out of bounds, sometimes a simple foot drop back into bounds, even when you're trying to be good, is enough to send you to the sin bin.
And that's what just happened. So now we have a power jam situation here where Peach Clobber, one of the strongest skaters to begin with, is going up against a shorthanded already and now jammerless Brute Rosés. So
we
here
have
it
a
comes.
power jam in favor of Peach Clobber, in favor of Cupid's Crushers. So they're going to let her through. And they're
There
gonna
she
try-
goes, going
That
through
was
on the
great.
inside track, just barely any contact there. She is able to get through very quickly. And her blockers are holding up so that she can get as many passes as possible during this power jam. So that's why they're staying stationary right now, because in order to form a pack, both teams have to have the sort of strange
Woo, there she
cooperation
goes.
of staying nearby each other in order for it to be counted as a pack.
Yeah, and
All
so
right.
if the white can hold back and like the red is trying, and Peach can push the red forward, at a certain point after they get 10 feet away, she has to be freed. They have to let her go.
Here comes Peach
So here
Clobber.
she
That was
goes.
a heck of a hit there.
The
And now
Cupids-
back around. Peach Clobber. Oh, a real hit there laid on her.
That was such good, but that was a great call. She saw that Gory was coming in, and she made the call as soon as she fell, and she knew she was at a disadvantage.
But I
She's
tell you,
really good at that.
Kylie Wyote laid the hit on her and lowered the boom and she felt it and then immediately called it, but got a ton of points in that last jam, 15 points in that last jam alone. That was how you do a power jam.
That was a good power
and
jam.
that gives them a big lead now, 38-9 in the lead for Cupid's Crushers, who have jumped out to a really early advantage here. And I'm surprised. I didn't think that one team would immediately begin dominating like this. There's a lot of talent on Brute Rosés, and I don't think this match is over for that reason. I'll tell you that.
There goes Shorty Morena.
All right. But
Through
she's
the
out.
pack. Oh, she's
been called to go to the sin bin. Oh, don't let your personal emotions get in the way.
That's my
T-Rex.
wifey over there.
That's her wifey. You've got to call this objectively now. Stay objective. All right.
There goes
but
Busta, she's through, and it's her power jam. So we'll
All
see what her
right.
team does to help things in her favor here.
Here we go. Kim Bustable coming
It looks like
through
they're going to
now.
play a little bit of offense because they're standing close to the white. They're going to try to knock the white out of the way so she can get through.
And this is exactly what the Brute Rosés need to get back in this bout, is a power jam with someone like Kim Bustable skating. But I'll tell you something, so far Cupid's Crushers are holding her back.
They're
They
doing a
are
great
not
job.
letting her through. They are giving her everything she's worth. This is a great exercise here of watching,
Great
wow,
job.
boom, and just
Hot
right
block
out.
pushes Skady Bright,
Yeah.
who positionally moves before you, Kim Bustable, out of bounds, and she calls it off.
Great work there by the wall of blockers.
The Rosés.
That the Rosés, that the Crushers threw up there.
Yeah, that was great.
That's right. So that was an opportunity for the Rosés to really get a lot of points. They did get some, but only 4 in a power jam situation. And as you can see here, they're coming through, and this is that
Hawk
block.
pushes Skady, pushes her out. Oh, that was great. really good offense.
Oh, man,
really
you
good
could
way
tell.
to get
That really tired out Combustible on that. That really took it out of her to be battling that and then take that hit. But here comes April Mayhem on the
moving
outside.
in, getting
Once
pushed
again, though,
out.
that's Just Julie, and that's the power that Just Julie brings to those blocks there. She does not let anyone go by easily.
Wonderful, though. Wonderful job. These two have been skating. Just Julie and April Mayhem have been skating since the beginning together, so they have a little bit of an advantage when it comes up to knowing each other's strengths and weaknesses.
And that unorthodox style of April Mayhem's, the high-stepping, long-legged style of hers, she just is able to keep balance in situations where you think like she's just going to go off the track. She stays and keeps her speed and keeps her legs under her. It's really fun to watch her. But you've also got someone coming up behind her here.
Shorty Moreno.
Shorty Moreno. And who
Mayhem's through. She's not.
and Mayhem is the lead blocker here. She's just gotten another 4 points. Sorry, lead jammer.
Oh, goodness. Shorty's out. Knocked the mats a little bit on the way out there. She's back in.
All right.
Mayhem still hasn't called off the jam. Shorty's through. Ow, and
Out though, but out
My
and
poor
having
dear.
to go to the sin bin again.
That
Now,
is
what was
not
happening
fun.
there? She just was gaining advantage outside.
I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it looked like she might have done a track cut,
Oh, a track cut. Okay.
which you'll see most of the jammers going out for. It's really hard up.
So that's where you gain advantage when you're outside the track.
And you'll see that April Mayhem just fell out of the track, but I believe that Skady Bright fell as well, and that negates Skady Bright's ability to push April back or make it so that she can't come in front
I see.
of her.
All right. And look at Just Julie and April Mayhem going up against each other. Oh, that is a classic battle there.
Julie
That's
did not
one
like
we've
to
been
give that
watching
up.
for a couple of years here. Those two skating together and skating against each other.
I love seeing it.
It's really fun. All right. Well, right now there's been a bit of a catch-up here. Brute Rosés are only 10 points behind now, and Cupid's Crushers
Great
trying
wall
to
by
hold
the
back.
Cupids.
Yeah.
And she
April
called
Mayhem
it.
calls it.
That looked intense.
All right. Well, that was quite intense, and it was exactly the kind of power jam they needed. Here's a replay of the action.
Here we've got Shorty Morena going out of bounds.
Forced out and
hitting. That's not fun.
And she's getting the business from the other team's bench there. Look at that. Yeah. Well, probably not. They're all pretty nice to each other.
Like giving her
But you
high
like to
fives while
think,
she's
yeah,
falling
probably
out.
give her high fives. Okay, that's fine. Coming up next, the next jam. And here we go. This is jam number 9 of period 1 with about 18 minutes left to play in period 1. Here they go. And Kim
fights
Bustable
through for
is
lead
through.
jammer.
And here she comes.
We've still got Shorty in the penalty box. Jams will start with their players remaining in the penalty box, so it's an immediate power jam. But here she is.
Kim Bustable is so tricky on her feet. Really, she's amazing. just weaved through that potential block. Here she comes right through that she wanted to come through. Did you see her directing the wall?
Great, and Shorty gets knocked out. She calls off the jam. That
Kim
worked out really
Bustable
well. Great timing. Kim Bustable.
Put her hands together in a T and a little bit of a V formation and said, give me a little room in between the wall here.
And
they
they said,
moved away
"Okay."
at that moment. She zipped right through. A great move there.
Good teamwork.
Yeah, she was coming up fast from behind, and she has the skill to be able to pay the bills and get through that wall. All right, Vertebreaker coming up.
Right
going
against
up against
Hypnagoria.
Hypnagoria.
For the Roses.
This is two of the kind of lighter skaters that have to use a lot of their wiliness really to get through the pack.
You'll see them be very jukey, very fast on their
Right,
feet.
because they can't use brute force. They're a little bit lighter. They can get moved around, but they also can juke back and forth. So it's really fun to watch these guys skate.
Vertebreaker has lead, but Gory is chasing her down.
Yeah. Vertebreaker giving it.
Oh, nice call for Vertebreaker. Gory didn't get any points on that one.
Really nice.
She called it right before it happened.
She got through, got 2 points on her own. Now look at what happened to the score. It's 46-46, a tie bout here with Brute Rosés catching up to Cupid's Crushers with a couple of power jams, and it's exactly what they needed. Both April Mayhem and Combustible making up a lot
This
of points.
is exciting.
Yeah.
This is like a really good.
It's fun to watch it from over here, isn't it?
Yeah, I like this.
Yeah.
I like this view.
That's right. Okay, coming up next, we've got the next jam happening here. This is one of the changes that's happened in roller derby lately. There's no more rolling jams. The jams start
on the first
whistle.
So we've got Peaches out here. April's coming back in. April's the lead
April
jammer.
slowed up there, went back, and now comes back around and through. April Mayhem sees a little bit of an opening and goes for it. Fatty Duke and Skatey Bright held her up for a minute there, but she got through.
And you saw that white team stretching out, one person between 10 feet, one person between 10 feet. That's called a bridge. And they can stretch out to like 20 or 30 feet just to try and keep the jammer contained. Mayhem calls it off.
All right, a little bit of extracurricular activity there at the end of that jam. But the teams are working it out and going up to the next jam here. All right. And that was good. And now the Brute Rosés have taken the lead with that last jam. An 8-point lead, a slim margin so far, but that was good to see them catch right back up. We knew they were going to come with everything they had by getting out to that slow start.
Yeah, both teams have great energy. It's hard to know when the game starts how it's going to play out, but.
All right, now fighting through here.
2 buckets. Her first jam in her first
She's really
bout.
fighting through, and she's gotten through.
She gets through.
She's not through. Oh, she got
so close.
Stuck out there over here by our booth. She's having to go back around.
She still had lead jam.
She had lead jam, and she called it right there.
Good job, 2 buckets.
All right. So 2 buckets fought through. She got lead jam position, and then she called it before Combustible could score any points. And let's see what happened
Instant
there
replay
as
on
she was
2
going through.
buckets.
Oh, I laid the hit.
She gets out, but she still, her hips went past that player.
Tell you what,
she might have gotten that point.
Kylie Wyote has been laying out some hits here and laying out some jammers.
She's a little scary in practice. She's a good
I'll bet
hitter.
she's scary in practice,
hitter.
man. I'll bet she doesn't lay out and she doesn't ease up in practice.
Oh,
huh?
no.
Yeah.
You're doing a disservice to anyone on the team if you take it easy during practice. So these girls work really hard 3 days a week to make this happen.
All right. Just Julie leading the blocking strategy here for Cupid's Crushers. You can see her skating
Gory
backwards and seeing what's
through.
going on. As you see Hypnagory trying to fight through Vertebreaker
They
in
are
the very
both
back.
stuck behind these walls.
Yeah. And
Gory's pushing. The pack is starting to
looks like
break.
Hypnagory's going to get through, and she does. She gets through. She's now lead jammer. And she's got a lot of speed coming around. You can see she's coming up behind here. She's looking. Oh, bobbing and weaving. There she goes. Let's see what happens here. And lays a
And
hit
she
in the
calls
back
it.
end. Lays it.
Oh,
All right.
very smart for Gory because Verta was coming up real fast. That was like a sixth sense. I didn't even see her look back. She was just like, and I need to call it right now.
That was good. She got through a couple of blockers and then called it very quickly. Really smart, good strategy there. Smart for her to do that. And as you say, sometimes they kind of have that sixth sense. I think what's happening also, she must be hearing some calls from the benches, must be hearing a little bit from captains and stuff like that as well. But
and she's got T over there in Southeast Manhandler. They make really good calls and they do a really good job rotating people out. So she probably does have that little voice in her ear.
All right, coming up next, the next jam, we've got April Mayhem, but we have Peach Clobber out in front. And Peach Clobber,
April's.
I mean,
I love watching her
April
skate.
Mayhem is maybe the sheer fastest skater out there, but
She just.
Peach Clobber is really fast too, and combined with
Wow,
power.
great,
And what
great
a
cut
move!
through by Peach Clobber.
That was, oh my goodness, one of the best moves we've seen by a jammer so far tonight. Cut out to the outside and then a quick cut back into the inside. And basically, in basketball, you'd call that splitting the defense. And that's what she did right there. Gets knocked out there, but calls it right there.
Right before April gets to the pack. Although April is right to keep skating even when she knows
She's
Peaches
arguing
called
it.
it
She
off.
says that, well, but she says Obi-Wan, Peaches was cut. And so now April cut. April is lead jammer. Nope, no one is lead jammer. Lead jammer is now in the sin bin, so this cannot be called at this point.
No, but it is still a power jam. So I think April is still in a really good position to make some points here.
It's interesting to me that she was actually trying to call it there for a moment and didn't realize that she was not lead jammer and couldn't call it. Now here she is in a position to make up a lot of points.
You saw the red team hanging back a second ago. That was in effect trying to split the pack so that the white team would have to let April go. Now they're playing some offense, and this is where it gets exciting.
Yeah, here comes April Mayhem, weaving her way through. There's no one really better at doing this stuff than her.
Great
she
teamwork
fakes
by
the
skating
inside
right
and
and
then does.
just Julie.
She has such acceleration with this quick little high step that she does. But she is. I'll tell you something. I think she's a little tired right now. She's been skating a lot, and you can tell that she's really trying to keep the energy level up here. Got 12 seconds left in this jam. She cuts to the inside, but does cut the track, so she's got to go back around. Another 7 seconds left in this jam to see if she can pick up any more points. It looks like she's content to just let it be called right there, and she does let it be called.
Wow. That was a lot all at
But
the
there,
end right
Peach
there.
Clobber was coming in out. As you said, that was one of those moves where she tried to sneak in out of the sin bin and get a couple of points at the end, but I don't think that she got any.
Peach is very sneaky. She's really good at doing that. She's really good, like what we saw earlier. She's really good at finding the window, finding the door, and just like whoop,
Yeah,
getting
in
past
there.
everybody. It's so exciting to watch because you're like, oh, that has to feel good.
They had a couple of bonus points in there in a way, almost
Yeah.
to get a little bit of points,
For
but no one was
style.
expecting it. Yep, there you go.
We've got 2 buckets again for her second jam.
And she has that style. She gets right up on the back of the blockers and rides through it, and then gets them split. Oh, that looks like a back
Ooh,
block
but
though.
Busta is through and in front of her now,
Yeah,
and it looks like
'cause 2
Busta does
buckets.
have lead. 2 buckets is out on a penalty.
She got a penalty there for a back block. She just was a little bit too much on the back there of Titan Young and pushed her out. Meanwhile, here we go. We
on
got Kim
one foot,
Bustable.
Busta's still surviving, and
goes.
she's through. They broke the pack.
It's really fun to watch tonight because all of these jammers, what we're seeing tonight, are really highly skilled and very fast skaters.
Yes.
Really fun to watch all of them. That's a good push out there by the Cupid's Crushers wall there, led by Fatty Duke.
Woo.
Really giving
Skating
Kim
and
Bustable.
Lulu Slaughter.
They're not
Great
giving an
teamwork
inch.
there, getting her out.
Not giving an inch on Kim Bustable. And there's about 10 minutes left in this first half of action here in this bout. Coming back around here.
Busta fights through. Short.
Oh, shorty.
Oh.
Morena almost got her. But Kim Bustable was able to avoid that. Meanwhile, another 5 points going up for Kim Bustable. And the Brute Rosés have started getting a more commanding lead here after being behind early in this bout. They are now coming up well ahead at 81-54 with the score right now. Kim Bustable calls that jam. Kim Bustable really putting it all in there. Here's a little look at that here we'll have in just a moment. But really putting it together. Here's that hit.
Nice. Wow.
Boom. Laid her out.
That didn't look too comfortable.
No.
2 buckets is through. Oh my gosh.
Here we go, coming up next with the next jam.
You gotta know too, like this wooden floor is exceptionally different from the rubber mat kind of floor that they practice on a regular basis. So everything goes faster, and that fall that you think you're gonna be able to catch isn't always, it's not always gonna be the case.
Wooden floor is also not very forgiving. It is just solid wood, and not even hardwood like what's on basketball courts. It has a little bounce to it. This floor here in Centennial Hall is made up of a bunch of 2x4s that are on their end, and so the bounciness is not there. It is just solid as concrete.
Great job, Vertebreaker, calling off that last jam before Gory could score too many more points.
It's a 30-point bout right now with the Brute Rosés coming in from behind there and now in good command of this bout so far. 84-54 with about 8 minutes left in the first half. And next we got Peach Clobber coming in. Going up against April Mayhem.
Who's still in the back.
Peach Clobber goes down.
She's got to cycle back, enter in behind those players.
And that was Bitter Glitter, giving her a little bitterness there on the outside.
and Mayhem is still fighting Just
Bitter
Julie.
Glitter comes in. There we go. And Bitter Glitter lays, and cuts out 2 players, but I believe that was an illegal block.
Yeah, it looks like we might have got a low block call on that for Bitter Glitter.
I think it was an unintentional. She was kind of just going down.
It feels unfair, but if you fall and someone falls over you, it hit their legs, and it's they want to discourage it that bad that they'll call that.
Yeah, that could be a dangerous situation, so they want to discourage that. Here it comes.
Here we go.
And coming around right now, you'll see in just a moment, there she falls and takes out those 2 players.
That is so frustrating when that happens because you're really just helpless. You just kind of have to protect your head and be like, take the penalty.
Yeah, okay, right. Okay, coming up next, we've got a power jam situation starting off with Vertebreaker in the back with April Mayhem on the bench right now in the sin bin. And a Peach Clobber looking to try to get back in it. Sorry, that's Skatey Bright looking to get back in it. Oh, a hard hit right under our table here. Vertebreaker came
Verta's
sliding
so
under.
close to being free of that
she
pack,
came up
took her.
She came up smiling. I'll tell you something. Wile E. Coyote, I do not want to go up against her. That's the kind of player you don't want to meet in a dark alley, man. I'll tell you, she will take you out. She has laid some vicious blocks on people, and there's another. Knocks her out. And that's just one of those things where Vertebreaker coming up against Wile E. Coyote.
Well, she knows that her size is a disadvantage, and you'll see her come up. You'll see her come up with like a sense of determination and a speed that like maybe someone who, maybe if the sizings were different or whatever, but like she does this a lot, and it tends to be effective. As long as she doesn't get a back block, she's still powerful enough to hit people over.
Yeah, and you got to say that no one out here's got more grit than Vertebreaker.
She does a great job.
She does an amazing job. And it really also goes to show you that there is no one particular size that's a better size to be in roller derby.
No, what's really cool about roller derby is that like no matter what size you are, you have an advantage because of that someone else doesn't have. That will help enhance you as a derby player. So it's kind of exciting to see everybody playing together.
Sometimes that means that you might be better in a certain positional opportunity, but sometimes it just means exactly as you said, whatever advantage you have, whatever size you are, whatever physicality you bring, that's the advantage that you have.
Yeah, that's why I get to be.
Yeah.
There goes Peach. That's why I get to be T-Rex.
Yeah, that's right.
Taller than everybody.
That's right. You're T-Rex and those horrible little arms.
And leverage is great. And April uses leverage to her advantage as well when she jams, as you can see.
Well, here comes Peach Clobber coming up and weaving through quickly. And there she goes now.
Another zip through.
April Mayhem is also coming through here. Peach calls it.
She did it very calmly. She looked over, saw April approaching the pack, and made the call.
So Peach Clobber right now, really skating. I'll tell you, if you were to try to pick an MVP right now, it would be hard. All of these skaters right now are really,
that would be really
skating
hard.
with a lot of passion and really being very effective on both teams. Right now, Brute Roses have a small lead of about 17 points. It's 85-68. And there's just over 4 minutes left in this first half of action. In the halftime, you'll be able to see a couple of interviews we did with not only a couple of the players that have been doing this for a long time, a couple of skaters have been skating for a long time, but also a couple of refs, a couple that are also refs. And we'll be talking to them. You'll get to see them as well. We'll be talking to them and finding out what it is that drives their passion for derby. Right now, we've got our fresh meat 2 buckets out.
This is her third jam ever in a bout, and it's really exciting to see her take that lead.
She's got that kind of style. I'd say that she's similar to me as April Mayhem. Has that kind of a high stepping style, fast and slithery through the pack.
She does, and she was doing ice hockey before this too, so she had an advantage knowing certain fundamentals of that skating process when she came into this, which was really cool to see that applied.
All right, Vertebreaker and April Mayhem are the 2 jammers to watch on this next jam, and setting up now. All right, we thought we had one player coming in there, but she didn't come in. All right, it's a power jam though with Bitter Glitter on the bench for the Brute Rosés.
April is lead jammer.
But April's lead jammer, in spite of that, it's just basically just like scoring a shorthanded goal here to be a lead jammer when you're the shorthanded team. And she's weaving her way through, scoring points as she goes. And she got through there. Just Julie had to let her go through at the end.
Verda
oh, sorry, that was Skaty Bright.
Gory is just keeping her out and keeping her from progressing through the pack, which gives April Mayhem an awesome opportunity to just keep scoring points.
And she comes back around through, but now Vertebreaker's out there, but
she's through.
Got caught up.
Rolling Marvel wouldn't let her through.
Someone caught up there to her and got her out. She was almost through and then had to circle back around.
She's got to be exhausted.
There's
it
some
is
fatigue
not easy
setting
to
in,
get hit like that.
Meanwhile, Gory has to go to the sin bin now.
Rolling Marvel holds Vertebreaker as long as she can. And April is already at the back of the pack pushing through.
Vertebreaker's coming through right now. She's actually been fighting a bit of a cold lately. I know she's had a chest cold for the past couple of weeks. She was worried about a little bit of conditioning. You can imagine her lungs must be burning at this point.
Oh, man.
After a couple of hard jams like that.
That's going to hurt later.
All right, coming up next, we got the next jam coming up with just over 2 minutes here. So there might be 2 jams left here. Might be enough time for 2 jams, even more. Or there might just be enough time for just 1 jam left here if they go the full extent of this next jam. So here we go. Under 2 minutes now left to go as they're starting this last jam, which is the 22nd jam of the half. And here we go. And Peach Clobber just right out there to begin with. And
Bust is right at the front of the pack.
Imbustable. Still fighting. Skaty Bright in front of her and Fatty Duke giving her the business.
She's got to push it, but beyond that 10-foot mark, they have to call. There we go.
There we go.
She's
so
through.
Skaty Bright had to give it up there. And meanwhile, Peaches has
through.
fought through there. So Peach Clobber coming around. And
Peach lets Busta go through.
she's coming up to the wall behind her, looking to ring some Southern Belle. Here it is, boom, and she did it right there on the inside against Kylie Wyote. And Kylie Wyote, let's tell you what, that's wild to see someone give a hit to Kylie Wyote that knocks her off.
Peach is being really smart right now, continuing to jam and not calling it off.
Here she goes.
She's getting points for those 2 blockers that
Meanwhile,
are in the penalty
now
bin.
she's challenging Combustible. She's saying, I can skate better than you and faster, and here we go. We're going to see what happens here. She's going to try to cut through and get some points. She cut it there and stopped it right there. Called it as she came through.
That was a really smart play by Peach. I was
really
wondering for a second, like, why isn't she calling it off? Oh, yeah, 2 of the other team's players are in the penalty bin. She's at a huge advantage right now. She just keeps jamming, and she did.
So her big thing that she was trying to do there is just pass the penalty bin and then called it immediately as she passed the penalty bin, got those 2 points.
Well, she doesn't even have to pass the penalty bin. That's what's awesome about this rule, is that all she has to do is pass the players on the other team.
One of them, and she gets the 2
No,
others.
once she gets past all the players that are left on the track from the other team, she gets any points from the penalty box.
I see.
As well.
Okay, so she was looking to get those 2 penalty points. And with that, she caught up quite a bit of room there. It's a 22-point advantage now to the Brute Rosés.
2 buckets jamming again. She got lead. She called it off real fast. She got knocked out, and April Mayhem got through.
All right.
So that was probably a good choice.
Looks like right here what's going to happen next is we might have room for 1 more jam here coming up. Nope, actually, we're at a halftime. So the refs called it. Well, what did you think?
That was exciting.
There at T-Rex, exciting action here happening.
To watch it and pick it apart and not have a certain team that I was attached to. You'll see I'm wearing both my colors.
Both colors.
Totally
it's good
impartial.
To see. Both colors.
But it was fun to see it as an audience member and not be on one team or the other. It was fun to see all these people that I know and love so much pitted against each other and not giving at all. Like they really, really kept fighting all the way through, and I didn't see them slacking off on each other in the least.
No, not at all. No, there were some real hits being laid out there, and that was exciting to see. It was also a seesaw battle with the Brute Rosés getting out to a slow start, but then catching up, and now they are in the lead with a 21-point lead heading into halftime here at 106 to 85. And speaking of all these people that you know so well, we got a chance to talk to a few of them. We're going to see a couple of interviews that we got to do right before the bout coming up right now. Halftime here at Skate to the Heart, and with me right now are 2 skaters that are veterans at this point of Juneau Roller Girls, and with me right now, April Mayhem and Fatty Duke. Thanks for joining me. April, tell me a little bit about what you do in your non-derby life.
I am a fishery biologist with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game.
And not much hip checking involved in that, or?
Sometimes, yes, it comes down to that. It's a state job, you know. Sometimes you got to fight tooth and nail. It's just the way it is.
You never know when those derby skills are going to come in handy. And Fatty Duke, what about you? What do you do in your non-derby life?
I'm a nurse at the hospital at Bartlett.
And so I can imagine that some of the derby skills definitely come in handy.
Oh, more than you know, every day.
So tell me a little bit about what drew each of you to derby in the before times, in the long ago years ago, before Juneau Roller Girls was even happening. You two were a couple of the first people to really start getting involved.
Yeah, so I'm from Detroit originally, and I saw a little bit of derby there, but was just blown away at the skill level, and didn't really know how to skate like that. And so you have to try out. You actually have to try out in cities that are big, which here it's kind of, we're still young, so we're not at that point yet. And so when I found out that Juneau didn't have a derby league and I was interested in playing derby, that was like the perfect storm for me.
Yeah, great. And how about you?
Well, I grew up in Maryland for the most part, and the Charm City Roller Girls are back there. I had just kind of heard in the periphery about roller derby. I've been in Juneau since 2007. Derby started up in 2003, so I had kind of was in that transition period and was like, oh man, you know, I wish I could get involved with it somehow. And I remember just sort of hearing talk about it, and I was like, yes, I got to be a part of that some way. And I love skating. I was an ice skater. I was a roller skater when I was a kid, and I just needed to be involved in some kind of sport, and I'm like, this is what it's got to be.
And that's something that translates for a lot of the people that are involved in roller derby. They skated a little bit, maybe ice skated, maybe roller skated when they were kids, maybe even roller bladed when they were kids. And but then taking those skills and putting them into this new sport seems like something that's a consistent thing for people.
Yeah, you know, I think because in its recent resurrection, which is its most successful resurrection, the sport has just really offered an opportunity for people that are not necessarily athletes to join now while it's still sort of new, and for people who've been athletes to really excel quickly.
What are some of the skills that you think that someone, maybe they haven't skated too much, but they might possess that would make them really good at roller derby?
Well, actually, I was just going to say, we have so many people, guys, girls, that start out who have never skated in their life, would call themselves not sport-type people. And because this is a grassroots, ground-up organization, there's a space for everybody. You really just want to be involved with something. And we have a lot of people who start out, they're like, I'm never going to skate, I'm not interested in that. And then they find that over time that they see other people who start and they've got the, you know, the knocky legs, the wobbly new horse look. Right. And then they start thinking like, I can do that. We just had one of our NSOs who just put skates on, and he's like, don't worry, I'm not going to stop being an NSO. And we're like, no, it's awesome. Keep doing it. You know, it's just really just being involved somehow. It's everything from merchandise to being a secretary on the board to just going out and doing PR stuff. There's a spot for everyone.
And that's one thing that's really interesting about Juneau Roller Girls. It's such a community effort. It's such a kind of, as you said, from the ground up effort. So talk to me a little bit about that. When was the Juneau Roller Girls formed, and what all did it take to get it going to the point where it is at now?
Yeah, a lot.
Big question, I know, but
question.
Yeah, when was it formed?
Well, there's a full-length documentary coming out about our league, which is awesome, that Patty Kalbrenner is producing, and so that'll help.
I know her a little bit. Yeah, I know her. Very talented.
She's extremely talented, yeah. But it was learning basically how to run an organization from the bottom up, from applying for writing we wrote our bylaws together.
Business.
Yeah, it's a business.
You know, we had to take people who didn't know anything about business and learn about it, and other people who had some experience one way or another. I mean, as I mentioned, you know, everybody's got something to add to this. We went and we took like business organization classes, and we had to go through so much as far as just interpersonal relationship stuff, how we're going to work together on committees, work together on teams, how we want to keep this organization running. And every Derby league is a little bit different.
A lot of moving parts, as you said, but you say it's a business, but actually it's a nonprofit, and it's a nonprofit that benefits a lot of different organizations in this town. Tell me about some of the organizations that you benefit through these matches.
Well, in order to qualify for sort of the front office that we want to compete under to rank with other leagues, we have to be a nonprofit organization and give it has to be completely volunteer run and give a certain portion of our earnings, like from the bout, to a nonprofit in the community, preferably one that sort of aligns up with our mission somehow. But that's sort of the idea.
Well, April Mayhem, in real life, April Rebert, and Alicia Gillis, who you know on the track as Fatty Duke, thanks so much. I hope that the match is going both of your ways right now. We won't know. The audience at home knows. We're doing this pre-match, so we don't know quite yet. But good luck to you guys out there today, and good luck to everyone out there as well skating with you. And we're going to hear from a few more folks in just a minute. Back live here with halftime festivities underway in the Centennial Hall. And one thing we've been doing on 360 North, a really fun thing we've been doing, is on 360north.org. We've been doing a live chat. It's being administered by Sarah Yu with 360 North and being answered by Car Heartless, a Juneau roller girl. So if you go to 360north.org, you can join in on the live chat. Sarah, what are some of the fun things people are asking most about?
Well, people are asking a lot of really good questions about the game and about, someone even asked about the crash bumpers and the tape on the floor, and she's basically been answering all the questions. I've just been typing them up, so.
That's great. Well, we have an expert on hand here, so that's who we throw to. Any surprise questions or any fun questions that you can think of that someone asked?
No, there were some questions about people's names, which I thought was really fun, because I think that's one of the most fun parts about Derby is people expressing their individuality that way. So that was nice that came up.
And it's just a fun thing that expresses that Derby's for everyone. And this can be a part of the way that you participate in Derby as well, is going on 360north.org, going to the live chat. You can also hashtag on Twitter, AK Derby, and kind of participate there as well, and you're picking up some tweets as well.
Yep, we are picking up tweets. There's even a poll on the live chat showing, asking which team you're actually rooting for. So if you have an opinion on that, be sure to go in and vote.
Anyone in the lead right now?
Right now it's Brute Roses, so if you're a Cupid's Crushers fan, you better...
Yeah, those are fair weather fans just because they're in the lead. Come on now, let's ring these up here. Let's get these votes underway. Well, we got some great other interviews that we did with some other people that are participating. Actually, we talked to a couple of the refs that are participating. The couple that's the refs. It's Major P. Rick and also Miso Nasty, and we're going to talk to them right now. We'll be back to second half action in just a second, but first we've got a really interesting couple of folks here to talk to. They are the officials, a little bit of the game within the game we're going to be talking about. First, there's Major P. Rick here, and also Miso Nasty. Yes, figure it out yourself. We're not going to help you with those names. But you guys are both refs, and I think that's a pretty interesting way to approach being involved in roller derby. Tell me a little bit about why you got involved with derby on the ref side.
Well, obviously I'm a guy, so I'm not going to be skating out there with them. But Miso's sister, just Julie, she's one of the team captains out there, and she kind of hooked me in and thought I'd be good for reffing.
And I've watched you skate for a couple of years now. You're really a skilled skater. Is that something that you've done a lot, roller skating, or are you an ice skater first, or how did you become that skilled?
Well, thank you first. I don't know that I'm that skilled, but I skated a lot in middle school when I was a kid, and then I didn't skate for like 23 years. I did do a little ice hockey and then came back to quads.
And Miso, what about you? What is it that attracted you to the ref side of it instead of wanting to get in there and throw hip checks?
I refused to compete with my sister, mostly. So I wanted to be part of Derby, and this was a really great way for me to participate, but do it in my very own unique way.
And then you also, seeing you skate out there as well, you must have some kind of background and experience in skating.
Mostly just hockey skating, and then I actually had to take the intro class because I didn't know how to stop. So we take all kinds, stopping or not, standing or not. yeah, it was just great. It was a perfect transition from intro to Derby. It was really great.
And speaking of you take all kinds, you guys are always looking for people to get involved in the refereeing side. I know that it seems like the natural thing for people who are interested in Derby is to get involved in being one of the skaters out there on the track. But tell me a little bit about why it's fun and interesting to be a ref instead of being one of the skaters.
You get the best seat in the house, for starters, and you get all of the Derby experience. You get that very collegiate family experience, but you don't get bruises. You don't get hit in the mouth. That's really great. And it's a different form of Derby. These guys skate, they do strategy. We look at it and we dissect it move by move, play by play. So we get to look at it in a different way, which is also really fun.
Well, tell me a little bit about that. I mentioned just a minute ago the game within a game. Tell me a little bit and tell folks at home what to watch for from the refs when they're watching the game to help them figure out what's going on in the action.
Well, there's all kinds of hand signals, without trying to explain them all. I would watch jammer refs, watch the outside pack. Those refs are right in your face if you're in the audience, so you'll get a good first-hand look at them. And, they're looking for people coming out of bounds or creating penalties within the pack.
And speaking of penalties, your job's changed quite a bit in this past season because the rule changes kind of nationally happened. Tell me a little bit about what happened with the rules and how that changed the job.
They took away the really confusing minor component. You could get minors, which ultimately led up to a major, and then you went to the box.
And they had a whole score sheet up and the dry erase board and all that stuff, and you had to track all that.
Yeah, and it's really difficult for the skaters to know where they're at in terms of penalties, but it's very difficult for us. We're trying to communicate all of this information into one person standing in the middle with the crowd noise and the skaters. It was just really tough. Now they took all those minors away, and it's just majors, nice and easy.
Did they make some of the minors into majors?
They did, yeah, a couple of them, but for the most part, the same stuff applies. You can't cut people, you can't hit people, you can't trip people. Those are the big ones we see.
So those are the real physical ones, and also the force outs.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of simplified the game. It made it a little more fan-friendly, I guess, and it made our job easier. Trying to keep track of how many minor penalties a girl or skater has sometimes can be quite confusing.
What do you think is the toughest thing about your job out there?
Staying focused. There's a lot going on. There really is. I mean, I do a lot of jam reffing, and so I'm focused on one lady skating, and there's a lot to keep track of when you're doing that. So I'm glad I don't have to watch anybody else at that point.
Well, that's an interesting point. There can be something happening in the pack, but as the jam ref, you really don't have to worry about that.
No, I leave that up to the pack refs. That's their job.
So if something happens with the jammer in the pack, though, are you tracking that as well, or is it up to the pack ref, or how do you call those kind of penalties?
Generally, the jam ref will call penalties on the jammer, but it is not outside of the bounds for anybody to call a penalty on the jam.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, you've been a little banged up recently. Has that been Derby related?
No, I did that to myself. I can't blame anybody else for that. Yeah.
But you're coming back from a couple injuries, a back injury, and actually even a broken leg. So getting back on the skates, how's that process been?
It goes actually really smoothly because the girls are great. They give you lots of time. The crew is great. Take it as it comes, do as much as you can. It's really supportive. So it's really nice coming back off of an injury and having my Derby family to support me through it.
All right, well, Major P. Rick and Me So Nasty have a great bout out there today. I know the first half has been great. Well, it's really before the game right now, but we know it's been great. Second half's going to be great too, and we're going to bring all the second half action right to you right now.
Hey guys, gone. Very good.
We're now into the...
It's horrible. It's. I no longer have it up here, but it's spread. Look at this. It's all over me.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I know. It's terrible.
You look like a big Valentine.
It's no longer just pink eye. It's pink. I want to thank Dr. Amy Dressel for this embarrassment that I have on right now.
She's one of our medics, and she's great. We love her.
And a lover of Derby, and a lover of all things Juneau, cultural.
She is
fun
the wearable
things.
arts, everything. She's great.
The queen of wearable arts as well. Well, and wearable arts, speaking of wearable arts, I did want to mention that on 360north.org, wearable arts is going to be on on Saturday, the 22nd of February here at 8 p.m. and then also Sunday, the 23rd at 7 p.m. So that's a
And this
chance
is
to see wearable
interesting.
arts that you also participated in.
I did participate in it, but also so did Bitter Glitter and Jean-Claude Hot Damn and Amy Dressel, which her
And-
derby name is like really
and
awesome.
April
and I totally
Mayhem as
forgot
one
it.
of the-
And April Mayhem as well. So it's like a derby girl riddled wearable arts
Yes.
show. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of Derby, what did you think about the first half here?
I thought it was really exciting. I'm interested to see after this halftime, and they go into their groups and they have their little pep talks. They talk about what's working and what's not working. What kind of energy they come back to the track with.
I think that fatigue is going to be interesting. Those jammers, they were essentially using 3 jammers each team and a lot of time on the track for each
A
jammer.
lot, and you could see them getting tired. It is so hard to push against those. Like, it's literally like pushing against a wall and just pushing against a wall.
That's why they call it a wall, yeah,
that's why
that's
they
right.
call it a wall. So it's exhausting, and they were really like, I could see them coming in with a lot of energy to start after this halftime break, but it'll be interesting to see how long they can keep that endurance.
That's where you
into the
often
second half.
see skaters like April Mayhem, who have great physical conditioning, really come to the fore. Towards the end of bouts, you notice her making a lot of points.
Yes,
Because
and she
she's
does. She
in great shape.
practices. She is like, she takes it very seriously. She takes her health very seriously. She works out at JRC. Like, she's not just like a part-time jammer.
No, yeah.
She's
Just
an
not-
athlete.
And not a high body fat percentage on
No,
her either.
and a lot of muscle.
Yeah.
She's definitely one to try and like keep up against. And we have some of these other jammers, like Two Buckets, who's been playing a few times, and this is her first ever bout. It really starts to, and you can feel your adrenaline going, and you're just pushing through it.
And
There's
so-
a point where
Yeah, and they talk about game shape in all sports. Talking about that game shape, really being into bout shape, the difference between being able to do it during practice and then getting out in the bout, all the adrenaline, going really fast and going fast for this long, this hard, and really
having
trying
the
to score
actual
the
strength
points.
to carry
Yeah,
through the
that's
second
right.
half.
So that's going to be really interesting to see. But you've got great jammers out there who are in great shape, like Peach Clobber out there as well.
yeah, she's also very very athletic. very-
Combustible is going to be someone to continue to watch. And then also Vertebreaker is someone who's been really out there and really working hard. But as we said, one disadvantage she might have is she has been a little ill lately. So we'll see if she's
Yeah.
able to keep soldiering through. She's had a little bit of a lung infection
That's
thing
hard.
happen.
You get the fluid in the lungs,
Yeah.
and you're like, But I mean, if I know Verta, she's gonna push through it.
She's all heart, man. She's all heart out there and all grit.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
It might be worked to her disadvantage, but I don't think it's going to take her off the track.
Well, let's see what's going on the track right now. We got some of the skaters coming out here already. They're starting to practice at some of the rosés out there right now coming out, and haven't seen the Cupid's Crushers are just
Oh, here they
entering.
come.
Right on cue. Here come the Cupid's Crushers coming out to their bench right now as well. And I'm going to slip out of my dainty robe. I'm getting really. Oh my goodness, this thing is so. But
You
this
look so
night,
pretty.
the back is even better than the front. Look back here. Oh my goodness.
Like a dragon.
It's a dragon going
It's like
on
a
right there.
derby spirit animal.
There
Oh,
it
it's
is.
a
That's
phoenix.
It's a phoenix. It's a spirit. It's my spirit animal.
I like it. I think.
Yes, enjoy it. So we're looking for, like you said, a lot of action up front. We'll see what the fatigue happens here. But the first thing that has to happen is Cupid's Crushers have to get a couple of power jams in here.
Yeah, they
be
need
able
to get back
catch
up
up
there.
a little bit. of
They
the,
were
point
like neck and neck, and like you said, there was a lot of back and forth. Oh, we've got more points. Wait. Power jam just happened. Now the other team's on top. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep that going, or if one of the teams is just going to get too tired, and all of a sudden you're going to see all the points going.
And like in a lot of sports, a lot of times the penalty box is what decides things. If a team is just too many fouls on it, too many penalties, they start paying the price. That happens
Seven
in-
penalties and you're out.
Yeah.
And since they're all major penalties, like you don't have a lot of wiggle room. And it is like if you've got people in the box, the other team's jammer is scoring
That's-
points every time she passes your team on the track.
Right.
From those two people that they're not doing anything, they're just sitting there like frustrated because they're not playing the game. So yeah, I think it's really a penalty-driven game. Like in if someone needs to like shoot up with more points, it has to be like it usually
Right.
happens in a power jam. And April Mayhem is like kind of terrifying when it comes to that. So is Peach Clobber.
They are.
So-
They are. They're terrifying. Let's talk about a couple of the blockers out there. Well, we talked about it in the first half, but Kylie Wyote is
She's doing
lowering
great.
the boom out there on
She's putting a
people.
lot of people on the floor. And so is Just Julie, and that's nothing new. She
We're
does an
used to
excellent
talking
job
about
every
Just
game.
Julie. We're used to talking about Skatey Bright and some of
Yep.
these other really great blocking
Who are
specialists.
playing excellent teamwork.
Yep.
They're really getting that
And we've
down.
seen that, but it's been wild to watch this Kylie Wyote really take people out.
Yeah.
Man.
And I want to give a shout out also to like Lulu Slaughter and Roland Marvel, who haven't been in that many bouts at this point, but they're still doing a really good job. And all the teamwork and everything that we are working on in practice, you're seeing them administer that out on the track, and they're doing a great job. It's really cool to see.
Well, it looks like they're just about getting ready here to start their first jam, so we're going to turn our action and our focus onto the track here next. It's lining up next with the score right now at 106 to 85. Another 30-minute half in front of us here for the second half of Skate to the Heart. Yes, which
Whatever
I think,
song pops into your head.
I think is Bryan Adams, but other people think is Bon Jovi. Right? What do you think?
Well, whatever.
You just like
a
Bon
little
Jovi.
more, just a little more of an edge for tonight.
Bryan Adams. He's great. All right, I'm older than you. I love the Canadian power ballads. Love them.
I think it works. I think they both work.
They both work. All right, Skate to the Heart is the name of this bout, and it is the Brute Rosés going up against Cupid's Crushers. Cupid's Crushers got out to an early lead, but are now in trailing by 21 points here. But as we saw, 21 points is one good power jam away.
Can be easily overtaken.
So this could be a close match all the way through, all the way to the end. Watch again for the jammers. The lead jammer is signified by the jammer ref throwing up his hand and putting a 1 in the air and saying that guy is the lead jammer right there. And then
when she is the lead jammer, she can call it off whenever she feels like it to disadvantage the other team.
And that is the key thing about being the lead jammer, absolutely. So here we go. We're going to start off with jam number
Peach
1
Clobber
of the second period. And here
up
it goes.
against-
Peach Clobber
is that
comes through
Busta?
first, and
Up
there you
against
go.
Kim Bustable.
You see that finger go in the air by the jammer ref, and that is Major P. Rick, who we talked to at halftime. He's tracking that jammer. You'll see on the outside of the track, Miso Nasty is on the outside of the track, and that was the other ref
That's
that we
what I was
talked to
saying
at
about
halftime.
Peach Clobber being so sneaky. She just snuck past everybody and got all those points. Kim Bustable is still
throwing
fighting in the
kisses
pack
to the
on her
crowd.
first-
There you go. Throw the house announcers. He never throws kisses to us. All the house announcers get all the love from Peach Clobber. All right.
Nice
She
hit
got
out by
forced
Wyote.
out there.
Kim
Yeah.
Bustable finally clears the pack. She's coming around. This is her scoring pass.
And as you said, the first time through, Peach Clobber got through without being touched. She's looking over and she sees Kim Bustable coming up, so she calls that jam.
She got a lot of points out of that
first
one.
jam. That's exactly what Cupid's Crushers needed right out of the gate. 10 to zip, and so 95 to 106. That was a great first jam.
Nice little pick-me-up for the
Got him
Cupids.
right back in there. Yeah, got him right back in within about 10 points, and that's exactly what they needed to do right out of the gate there. Peach Clobber, such a great skater, but also skates with so much power. So she's got a great combination of skill with skating, speed, and that power. Really fun to watch. All right, here's Vertebreaker going out against April
And
Mayhem.
April Mayhem, as the jammer, pushes Vertebreaker, the jammer, out and runs her back around the track. This is awesome to
What
see.
is
I
she
never get
doing?
to see this happen.
What is she doing?
Verta must now enter behind where April Mayhem was. She has to skate all the way. Oh my God. I
my
love April
gosh,
Mayhem.
that's
She is so mischievous. She's totally pulling this off.
You have to tell me what's going on. I've never seen this happen before.
I saw this once in a YouTube video.
Okay.
I've never actually seen it
So
applied.
April Mayhem, because she
pushed Verta all the way back, and Verta did cut the track. and then
she's
she
able
cut
to
back in.
dictate where she needs to come in behind where Vertebreaker is. So she went all the way around the track, made Vertebreaker go all the way around.
And Verta cut in that process because she was confused maybe about what was going on, as we all kind
Or
of
just
were.
trying to make up time. Or
Yeah,
something.
and so now Verta's in the penalty box. It's a power jam for Mayhem.
Oh,
with the Brute
sneaky,
Rose is already in the
sneaky
lead.
April Mayhem.
She is so sneaky. I love that
Sneaky.
girl.
And so smart. And that is, I'll tell you what, just like in any sport, knowing about the rules, huh?
Yeah.
That's like watching some crazy balk call in baseball or something that you
It's
never
super
see.
fun to see.
Yeah.
You don't see it very often. It's
Very
hard to,
cool.
You know, it's hard to do something like that very often. People
Right.
catch on real fast, but she
there's April
totally pulled
Mayhem.
it off. And the key element to that stunt that she just pulled was knocking Verta out right at the very beginning of this jam.
So by knocking her out and using a little bit of her power.
And Verta tried to re-enter. She cut the track. April is still just pushing through, scoring points. Here comes Verda, but she still has not done her initial pass, so she's not getting any points for this, and she has to go all the way around to get some.
And there, April Mayhem got a couple more there. Julie just got sent to the sin bin for trying to push out April Mayhem in that little exchange. And now April Mayhem's about to call. I think she got past
April's going to keep pushing this. She's got 2 of the other players' people in the box.
Bench.
3 on the bench.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, 3, yeah. Now 1 just coming out now.
Lulu Slaughter coming back onto the
so
track.
She thinks no matter how many points Vertebreaker can get, she can get more.
And she's right.
And she's right. She did it just there.
There's no reason for her to stop right now until they call off the jam, and they just did.
They just called the jam. Now, why was the jam called there? I don't quite understand. The refs called the jam there, it seemed like.
Were we at 2 minutes? We might have been.
There were a couple of seconds left here, but here comes this really interesting maneuver.
I forget what this is called. I wish I could remember. It's such a cool trick. So she knocks Verda out
gibbet.
right
Let's
at
just
the
call
beginning.
it a flibberty
And
gibbet.
Verda's
Here it
like,
is.
what is she doing? Where is she pushing me back to? April skates all the way up, but see.
So that's where she cut. That's where Vertebreaker cut right there. And so she's called for the cut right there.
And then she has to skate all the way around.
Coming all the way around.
Mayhem knows
expending
she has
energy.
the bag.
Meanwhile, April Mayhem comes around.
And she's like, hey guys, I'm going to score some points on you right now.
That's exactly what she did. And 116.99 is now the score. Actually, it's
so
going
cool.
up. 124.99 now the score. 124.102 as the scorekeeper's adjusting. And that was
fun.
That was a BA maneuver, man.
Cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. We loved seeing that, and not only understanding where you are in your match, what you need to be doing, but also just understanding the intricacies of the rules. And I got to think that April Mayhem was having fun with that too.
I think she loves
I saw
that.
this on YouTube once. I'm going to go do it right now.
And I mean, like, we draw everything from the external derby community, and when someone figures something out, it's really fun to take advantage of it.
And right now we got Jean-Claude Hotdam, the bench coaches, out there talking about the rules. I would guess they might be asking them about what happened on that maneuver.
Now, it was April Mayhem herself who showed me that YouTube video. It might not be something that everybody has seen or is up to speed on, and so it was an interesting maneuver that she put into play. Not everybody was on board with it, and the other team looks like they might be contesting it.
So
I'm not sure.
Captains from the Brute Rosés out there, and
We're
also
getting a thumbs up from Chicken Hawk. I think they're gonna let it go, let it play. That was fun.
Fun to see, and a strange little footnote in the rules, working to the advantage of the Brute Rosés there.
There we go. Gory coming out in lead.
I'll tell you what, she's got
Peach
such a quick
behind.
first step,
She does.
And
both these girls have fast feet.
Yeah, they're fast. This is going to be a really fun one to watch here, with Peach Clobber trying to come. And she caught one in the face there.
By Roland Marble.
She caught one in the face, hard.
Roland Marble being so sweet, checking to make sure Peach is okay.
And she's sent to the sin bin for that hit.
That was a rough one.
And
Peach goes out, 2 buckets comes in. Oh, dang.
Peach looks okay. She's got a little ice to her face on the bench right now, but she's looking all right. She's talking there. We're going to see what happened here. And right here, she took
there.
Right there on that
Falls
left elbow.
on the back. It looks like when Marble throws back and looks like she might have hit her chin.
Marble was a little bit losing balance and swung an elbow out to the left, caught Peach Clobber flush right on between the nose and the mouth.
Looks like
there.
2 buckets she's trying to call it off, but she wasn't lead jammer. This is her first bout, so she's doing pretty good.
Kim Bustable is out in front though, and Kim Bustable is going to score points here while she can. 2 buckets has got some speed to her skating and a real smooth style to skating.
She had an excellent endurance. Busta calls it off right after she breaks through the pack, gets all those points. That worked out well in favor of the Brute Rosés.
And the Brute Rosés got a 10-point deficit there when Peach Clobber had that great first jam of this period, but now have kind of re-exerted a little bit of the form they were showing in the first period, and now it's 126 to 108. Still a very close bout here.
Still very close, but Brute Roses is staying ahead. Brute Roses, Brute Rosé.
Jam number 5 of the second period coming up now. We've got April Mayhem, the sneaky April Mayhem coming up next here.
Up against Shorty.
And so skilled. She got forced out there. and going to the sin bin right now.
And I didn't hear them.
Oh, and she got tangled up a little bit there with Miso on the outside.
Back up like it's nothing.
Had to go around.
She's awesome.
And got sent to the sin bin. I think she cut the track, and she was called for cutting the track there.
And we got Vertebreaker coming through.
Vertebreaker calls it. All right.
That's
so
interesting.
yeah, she had a power jam going, and she called it there. What do you think was going through her mind there to call that while in a power jam situation?
I'm not sure. What's interesting about this game, and we've got a replay here.
And there's the force out, and there she just immediately went out. As she heard she knew she had gotten called immediately, and just immediately went out. I didn't see what had happened to make her get that major penalty.
It could have been a cut.
Meanwhile, back on is
We've got our Peach back.
Peach is back. The shot to the face isn't gonna stop Peach Clobber, man. Man, she's like the mountain from Stone Mountain coming through here. Peach Clobber.
Wow, great
And
job
look how
breaking
fast she is.
through.
She split them twice. She split them, and there she goes. They were out,
Gory
but
and
they had
Marvel did a
extended.
great job reforming around her. As soon as she got up, they were back at her
That was
side.
exciting to see, and Peach Clobber's looking. Tell you what, that shot to the face got her a little motivated, I think. She's coming through like a house on fire. And coming around, Peach Clobber again on the inside. Forced out, having to come back around. Hard fall there.
So Julie's intention with that, which is always painful when you're in that line of fire, is if Marvel was the one who knocked Peach out, Julie knocking her out would negate that Peach had to go all the way back. She could have just stepped back in, but the timing wasn't quite right.
Peach Clobber on her hands and knees and just recovering from a hard hit there, and calls the jam. Tell you what, she
These
was
last two jams
motivated
were not easy
there,
for her.
and there she is, really showing the exhaustion that's happening in this second period right now. She took a shot to the face. She did a lot of work, heading to the bench right now. That's a tired skater right there. Here's a little bit of what happened there. Coming through and split the D, can right through, but then
D
the
takes
D
advantage of that fall.
reformed, got in front of her, but then they were too far extended and had to give up, and that's when they throw their hands up and say, yep, got to go back. Coming back to the live jam, it's happening, live jam number 7.
Great wall by the Cupids up against Combustible.
That's the great wall of Cupid.
2 buckets getting through, Scara chasing her down.
And Combustible busts through there. And being followed, though, by the 2 buckets. So 2 buckets coming around, trying to keep up with Combustible, which is a tough thing to do. It's only an 8-point bout at this point here, with all the damage that Peach Clobber just did. And Peach Clobber is talking right now to our medic, Amy Dressel, on the sidelines.
That was some pretty awesome wall forming by the Cupids, though. I gotta say, like, Busta had to push the whole pack.
Yeah.
That was rough.
10-point match right now, 121 to 119, with Brute Rosé still in the lead, but kind of just tenuously holding on to that lead at this point. Cupid's Crushers have gotten very determined, being led by the really, what you have to say is courageous skating of Peach Clobber.
Gory and Verta showing each other a little love. There is a lot of love going around here, even though all these, even though it's hard to tell sometimes.
It's tough love. It's tough love is what it is.
It is tough love.
Vertebreaker now is lead jammer, and she's coming around. Now when she meets this wall, watch for a concussive hit, because she doesn't shy away from hits. Boom! That's what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness, Vertebreaker takes it on the chin.
And gives
and
Gory
comes
time
back
to
up
catch
around
up.
and looks through, and there she calls it. Come back around, she scored a couple of points, and she called it right there. Here we go. This is the hit I was a little bit predicting. You
did. That was
you
eerie.
could feel it coming. Here it is. She's coming around, and right there, boom. Guess who? Wild E.
Lucky for her, nobody pushes her back in this scenario. Scara's on the ground, so even though she went out of bounds, she could just get up and go right back
Kaylee
in.
Wyote, I tell you something, I wouldn't come in that fast coming up if Kaylee Wyote were in the way. She is going to make it hurt.
So we're calling a
And
timeout.
we got a timeout on the floor here, this track.
Each team gets, I think, 3 timeouts per game.
A lot of excitement so far, though, T-Rex. I mean, so we've got about 10 minutes into the second period here. It's only a 7-point match now at this point, so you got to say Cupid's Crushers have kind of done what they had to do They cut that 21-point deficit.
They
a lot of
did.
it riding on the back of Peach Clobber, who is on the bench right now and has been talking to the medics.
Oh, that poor lady.
And I still see her. I don't know if I still see her on the bench or not. She might have gone out. Looks like maybe she's actually back in on the track. Left
Is
the
she
track.
back already? Ah, gosh, she's such a trooper.
She's back
that
on the
was
track,
those were
maybe.
2 really hard jams. She took it like a champ.
Took it like a champ, man, and she took it in the chin, literally.
Yes.
Took it on the chin with a hard elbow to the face. And then on that power jam, you can really see she left it all on the track, man. I mean, she
She
took
was like,
a number
powering
of hits.
through, and
by
it was
the-
almost like she did get extra energy from going down that first time.
She
And she
did.
went down again, but I mean, she's got like her team is right back up there. That was exciting to watch.
It's an 8-point match right now, 8-point bout, and she is back on there. Really, this is one of those performances that you got to say, this is someone really gutting it out. So here it is, Peach Clobber back on the line as the jammer. She's going up against the very tough and very smart April Mayhem, who has shown that she knows exactly what she's doing out there. Peach Clobber gets the advantage. She's trying to push the inside. April Mayhem also pushing the inside now. Peach Clobber caught. April Mayhem forced out. Look at this, Peach Clobber coming around, looking to try to get ahead. It is neck and neck. They still haven't gotten through. Peach Clobber trying to go to the outside. April Mayhem is down, and April Mayhem is left to the outside while Peach Clobber
She's through.
comes on the inside. That was an exciting
That was really
matchup
exciting.
of 2 jammers
Great
really
blockers.
going at it.
The blockers really held that together. They
All
were
right.
like, nope, both teams.
I want to see what Peach Clobber does here. There it is. The South will rise again, and it's going up against the wall and getting through. All right.
Unscathed. I'd say unscathed.
Peach Clobber came through pretty unscathed, I would say, and so far she scored 4 points.
Mayhem pushes through the pack, past
She
Shorty
comes up
Marina.
again. She's looking to go through
Skating
again.
right, slows
Peach
her
Clobber
down.
through. She got through all through the hips. Another 4. And another 5 for Peach Clobber
April
right there.
trying to
She
put-
passes up April Mayhem. Now
Trying to-
Peach Clobber is saying, come on, April. Let's do this. Let's get it on. Peach Clobber coming back through around and just cutting through like butter. That's like a Paula Deen recipe there. I'll tell you what, it got lots of butter.
You want to think that April Mayhem is frustrated right now, but even though like Peach has the upper hand, she's got a big grin on her face.
Oh, yeah. Peach forced to the outside there and trying to get through the wall right there. You got to think Peach is going to call it at some point here. You got to think she'll call it as April Mayhem goes by her, but she does not call it. No, she's not calling it yet. She's not calling it. She wants to come
I think
through.
she has the upper hand right now on April Mayhem in terms of how many passes they've both gone.
All right, so she doesn't worry. She's not worried about it. She's also relying on her blockers to do exactly what they're doing, which is holding back April Mayhem.
Katie
just
and
Julie
Julie skating together so
and
well.
Skady Bright just putting on a clinic. And there it goes.
Awesome.
Woo! Now that was a jam.
I think that tested everybody's endurance.
My
the blockers did a
goodness.
great job out there.
That was some excitement to see the fortitude of Just Julie, who and Skady Bright, and combined with the amazing, really courageous skating.
Yeah, there was a
of,
moment out there that might
Peach
have looked a little
Clobber.
confusing. April like stopped and turned and like kind of went front, face to face with Peach. Jammers can do that. And April, she's a trickster.
Yeah.
She'll try all
right.
kinds of stuff.
Coming up next, here we go. We got 2 buckets coming through as
And
the lead
she's
jammer.
through. 2
She
Buckets
is the
doing a
lead
great
jammer
job
right
in
now,
this
and Kim
bout.
Bustable is held up by the wall. And Just Julie she has to beat still, and that's not easy. Just Julie gave her some problems there, but she came back around. 2 buckets cutting through, meanwhile, and threw it easily. 2 buckets coming through. This fresh meat
Her
doing
first bout
great.
ever.
She's checking in with the bench coach. And
Busta breaks
Jean-Claude
through.
Hottam giving her some instruction. Meanwhile, Just Julie goes down hard as Kim Bustable cuts through. And that's it for the jam. 2 buckets doing a great job. 2 buckets was too much in that one for the Brute Roses. And look what's happening to the score right now. Cupid's Crushers within 5 points.
No one is
Brute
letting this
Roses
go.
at
No one is
146.
letting this go.
And Cupid's Crushers at 141. Here it is coming through. And Kim, that's just Julie going down hard as Kim Bustable got back around her. There's Kim Bustable out in the free track right before it got called. And here comes the next jam up with live action from Centennial Hall. Here
Verda
in Juneau,
breaking out
Alaska.
as lead jammer. Gory has a little bit of a fall there. It's hard to... Lulu Slaughter knocks her out. Lulu Slaughter keeps up the chase, but she's just too far away from the pack.
Shorty Morena gotten through. Verda Breaker gotten caught there by an inadvertent hand that was getting thrown out by Scarabee Knightley. She didn't mean to do that, but it caught her in the face and it knocked her on her tuchus, as we used to say in the old days. And there's Verda Breaker. She got caught in the face, and she's kind of checking to see if she's more hurt than she knows. Really got an inadvertent hand in the face there by Verda Breaker by Scary Knightley.
I love to see a bout where nobody gets hurt, but like you say, the floor is hard. It's hard to fall on.
Yeah, man. Well, tell me a little bit about that. The badges of honor, which are the bruises of roller derby.
Tomorrow on the Roller Derby Facebook page, you're going to see all these pictures of girls and their bruises. And
yes.
I mean, you got to get something out of it, right?
Absolutely,
Peach
yeah.
Clobber,
That's Peach Clobber, loving it.
Through in lead.
And I'll tell you what, she is loving it, having a good time out there. She might have caught
Julie
a couple of elbows.
doing a great job keeping Mayhem
Peach Clobber
in the
right
pack.
through that.
So Peach can pass by. Julie is still on Mayhem. She's not letting her go. Slaughter and Julie working together. Mayhem gets far enough away that she's safe.
Peach Clobber has really dictated the action in this second period here, and she calls it on a second pass through, and I think that puts Cupid Crushers ahead. For the first time in the second period, Cupid's Crushers are going to be taking the lead at 154 to 148. So there you go.
But not by so much that the Brute Rosés
could
not take this back.
This is certainly an incredibly close game, but they are just a couple of points ahead, and they have come back from a large deficit at halftime. So here we go with live jam in action. This is going to be the
We've got
13th
2
jam
buckets
in the
for the
second period
Cupids, Kim Bustable for the Rosés, and 2 buckets is right behind her.
Kim Bustable has looked maybe she's just ran into a lot of hard blocking in this second period.
The Cupids are really holding it together. They've got great teamwork.
Blocking together, yeah. You got to say, wow! And there is your wifey knocking Combustible off the track.
She's a great jammer, but I like to watch her block.
And there it goes. All right, a short jam there, but another jam that went Cupid Crusher's way. They gained another couple of points. It's now 158-150. Cupid Crushers now in the lead with 12 minutes left, or just under 13 minutes left in the second period. All right, they're lining up now for the 14th jam of this period.
We've got Gory and Verda jamming against each other. Ooh, Gory was so
Gory
close
trying
there.
To get out. She got outside though. But she's still pressing the advantage. Verda Breaker still in the back.
Hawk Block holding her back.
Gory trying to get through. I tell you, just Julie and Skady Bright work together in tandem.
They're such a great team.
Amazingly well. It is just wild to watch them finally getting through there. But
Gory gets called.
Gory got called. I'll tell you what, that was the great defense
and
of
Verda
Skady Bright together with just
through.
Julie.
Now she's lead jammer.
You can see her going, okay, find it within yourself to get some more energy and push through this wall, and there she goes to the outside.
She comes in so fast.
No one takes a hit like Verda Breaker, man.
She really does take a hit well.
She takes hits.
Like, she keeps her body tight,
back up, and
she
here
gets
it is.
back up real fast.
She just found that wall too hard to get through, and she called it right there.
Wow.
But there you were.
Yeah, it's interesting. Roller derby, I think it was Mantastic that described it as somewhat of a game of chess. You've got offense and defense pulling at each other. Where do you put your energies all the time? Because you're trying to stop them from scoring points, and you're trying to make sure your jammer scores points. So this game, the point play that we're seeing here is really interesting. Both teams are well matched.
Yeah, and that was just a couple more points up for Cupid's Crushers. 110, a 10-point lead now by Cupid's Crushers, 150 to 160, with 11 minutes left in this bout. And here she is,
Peach
Clobber, who really, for the second period, has been the main attraction and really has brought this team back.
She's got a power jam right now.
Here she
Gory's
goes.
waiting in the box. She looks real anxious to get out.
And her working and together with the amazing blocking that her blockers have been putting on. Skady Bright, Just Julie, Fatty Duke, all working in concert and doing a great job.
Holding Wyote in the back. This is called goading, where they hold a red player in the back to split the pack.
I also want to shout out to Hawk Block, who's also part of that defense for the Cupid's Crushers here. Now that was a 7-point jam or 8-point jam for Cupid's Crushers. They are coming out ahead here, now an 18-point lead, and here we go, a little bit of the action in that last jam.
Peach breaking through.
There goes Peach,
Nice.
just like running like a track sprint out of that blocking wall there and just through it. Again, she's just finding her way through those walls. And they are now up by 18 points. I'll tell you what, you wouldn't have quite thought that with 10 minutes left in this period that Cupid's Crushers would be up by 18 points at this point in the match.
Not by how they left it at halftime.
And I'll tell you, every time I say match, I have to put $1 in the sin bin jar.
For not saying bout.
For not saying bout. I'm sorry for you Derby fans out there that want to just say, stop saying match, Klein.
It's about.
It's about. How much Premier League football do you watch? Well, it's too much, I'll tell you. Right
I did
now.
want to mention also, when Gory re-entered, and she didn't know the jam was going to get called off so soon, but when she did re-enter, you saw her taking off her jammer panty and holding it out. Mayhem was the pivot. At that point, they could have exchanged the jammer panty, which would have made Mayhem the jammer, which could have been advantageous for the team, but Peach called it off.
But Peach called it.
She was like, I get it, no, on it.
Yeah. So
This is great.
It's
This
interesting
is really fun
watching
to
all
watch.
that strategy in play. And that's one thing that's been really interesting watching the development of Juno
Yeah.
Rollergirls. Really understanding the strategy. They've been playing for a few years now. They're starting to figure out what's happening in game situations.
It's like every game, every bout that I see, there's more of this strategy being implemented all over the place because like it's happening in practice and we're seeing other teams do it all over the world and like we're taking it here and we're bringing it to Centennial Hall. It makes the game that much more legit, that much more exciting.
Fun to watch the development
So
of,
fun to watch.
of this sport in every corner of the globe.
And especially now here in Southeast Alaska,
you go.
we've got Sitka has a team, Ketchikan, Wrangell, Petersburg. We're gonna see some really cool Southeast bouts coming up here in the next couple years.
Well, one thing we should mention before the end of this is we should mention a little bit about if people are more interested in the education and finding out about roller derby, there's a film project going on right now.
Yes, there is.
that you are actually the producer of and the cinematographer of and the director of. And
I am. That's how I know
all those other
everybody's
things.
names.
So tell me a little bit about that documentary project you've been working on.
So it's called A Derby Kind of Love, and it was really just, I didn't know anything about Derby going into it, and I started hanging out with these girls. They let me film everything for like a year, and during this period of time, all these Southeast teams came up. And so it just turned into this really cool story about how passionate these women are for this sport, and I'm like totally in love with it now.
That's awesome. Well, here's the next jam coming up right now, and this is the 17th jam of the second period with 9 minutes left and an 18-point lead by Cupid's Crushers.
Cupid's holding Busta back.
Bert
They're
Rosé's
running her back.
have to start figuring out a way to start scoring. And I'll tell you one thing that's been a big difference that I've noticed, even from a novice standpoint. Cupid's Crushers have not been spending any time in the sin bin lately.
No, they've been really good
They've
about
been really
penalties.
good about maintaining their penalty level at a low level.
Hawk
And
block
that has
took
allowed
Busta
them
out
to
there.
score a
She
lot
got-
of points. So there is Vertebreaker having to go back, and she's going to have to go to the sin bin. She cut the track and is going to have to go to the sin bin. So right now it's a power jam for Kim Bustable, which is just what they needed at this point in the bout.
Skady built a bridge for Hawk block there, but Busta's pretty fast. It's hard to catch her.
Kim Bustable fighting through that wall, and she's just about through, but
Julie
just
chasing
Julie's
her
not
down.
letting her go.
Cupids are bridging, and she's
And
out. That
just
bridge worked
Julie.
perfectly. That was exactly what was supposed to happen in
Just-
favor of the Cupids.
I'll tell you what, it's fun to watch these skaters who've been skating for a few years now, and some of them for more than a few years. Skaters like Just Julie, like April Mayhem, like Peach Clobber, they really know what they're doing, and they know exactly where to go and where to be on the track. You see Skatey Bright and Just Julie working terrifically there.
Getting Busta out. Busta calls it off.
And
She's
there
like, this is
just-
exhausting.
She's just frustrated.
Well, she would have had to go all the way back behind the pack. It's just, at a certain point, you got to cut your losses.
Yeah, it's like a great wide receiver going against a great cornerback. Sometimes you just get beat, and you have to say, you know what, next down. We're going to do it on the next jam.
Yeah, there's
So
a lot
here
of
it
energy,
comes.
like we were talking about. This endurance, how can you save your energy? Playing strategically is the best way to do that.
And a lot of hands on knees here in between bouts, as you see the
A lot of
fatigue starting to set in here. But here we go, the next one up with
Gory
and that's
up
Gory
against the
coming
3-wall.
through.
She
There
breaks
she
out.
goes. I love her high stepping style as she comes
She
around.
does, and it really helps when she's in the pack. She can step right over people's feet.
And the weaving she does to try to get through. And there you go.
Right through. Good job, Hypnagoria.
And Hypnagoria is doing a great job here. She needs to go here.
Verta re-enters, but the Rosés see that coming. And
Verta's
gets
back
another
out, immediately
another
back
track
out.
cut. Bummer.
But look at what Gory ran into there. It's someone named Just Julie, who was not about to let her go.
And she's trying to call it.
She
There they see
called
it. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Gory is a dynamic skater, incredibly
Yeah,
quick.
it's really exciting because
watch her skate.
I think she hasn't bouted. She hasn't been in that many bouts. I think this is her second bout. Is it her second or third?
Okay, yep. But here we go. That was a great one, though, for Brute Roses with 170 to 168 now the score. But here you go. That's the holdup. Just Julie. And there you go.
Nice hit out there.
And, ooh. Oh, there's Just Julie. Running into who.
Kylie Wyote.
Kylie Wyote. Saying, welcome to my house. The house of pain.
We got
There it
Mayhem
is.
in lead here.
I'll tell you what, Brute Roses with that jam, though,
It's a power
retook
jam.
the lead.
And it's a power jam for Brute Roses right now.
So they made up 20 points there in that one jam. And now here comes April Mayhem. And they're kind of feel like almost like a little bit of, okay, you guys were out of hitting front for a while, but here we come.
She wants to score the points, but she's being really strategic. She's not being as fast and vicious as she usually is. She knows Brute Roses is ahead, and she just wants to keep it that way.
I'll make a prediction here that the next jam we're going to see Peach Clobber come back out. I'll tell you what, because
So far your predictions have been...
Yeah, she's the jammer that's really gotten them into position to have gotten back in the lead. And she has not been in a couple of jams, and that has been something that Brute Rose has been able to take advantage of. They've also taken advantage of penalties, and that's something that we talked about as well. All right, here comes April Mayhem coming through and around.
Verta is back in the pack.
And April Mayhem creating mayhem as she does once again. But Verta Breaker getting around through, and Verta got through. Well done. Verta Breaker got around through.
April kind of
goes.
Weaving in and out here, up against Shorty, doing a 3-wall.
Skatey Bright going out after April Mayhem, but she was too quick for her.
And now she's
Verta
coming back to
Breaker
help her
trying
team.
to get around through the pack.
How can
but
she
here
help
comes
Verta
April
Breaker
Mayhem.
through? Skatey, it's so hard at this point. People get so tired. Luckily, everybody gets tired.
Oh, and they got tangled up. Looked like Verta Breaker. Oh, and Verta Breaker did get through that. I don't know how she stayed on her feet.
She's got to keep pushing, or that red wall is going to reform.
There she goes. She's got a moment here.
Marvel's
She's through.
after her. Good fight. Everybody
Oh,
is
and
getting
Verta Breaker
tired.
over the barrier, and she is exhausted on that one. That was a long jam there, and Verta Breaker was feeling it there towards the end. You could see it. All right, now Brute Roses has taken back I wouldn't say commanding lead, but with only 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in this entire bout, it's getting close to that. 190 to 172 is the score right now, a 18-point lead.
Cupid is going to need a power
from
jam.
Brute Roses, and Cupid's going to need, as you say, a power jam. And they're going to need who they've got back in there as the jammer. What did I say?
Peach Clobber, you
Peach
did.
Clobber,
That
and
was
there
you.
she is.
You called that.
Coming back in, and there she is as the lead jammer. I
She's
tell you,
out
in
of the
this second
pack.
period especially, she has definitely
Cupid is
shown
fighting
what she
to
is
keep
all
Busta
about.
back. They do not want her to make that.
And
Little
she
bridge
did
action
well
there,
there.
skating
Held her
over.
up for quite a while. Here comes Peach Clobber trying to get through that wall. And she does
through.
remarkably well. And she's going to look for Combustible. She's going to watch. Combustible is trying to get through there. Peach Clobber looking to see if she can get through first. Trying to keep an eye on it. Peach Clobber just seems to be willing her way to get past any of the action. And here are the two jammers going up against each other right now.
I like it when this
Combustible
happens.
and Peach Clobber. Peach Clobber cuts to the inside. This
Fights
is like
past.
watching the speed
Bustible's
skating
catching up.
in the Olympics right now.
And
there
she
you
calls
go, and
it
she
with
calls
all of
it.
her points. Beautiful jam by Peach Clobber.
Gets a big hug from Skady Bright as they head off. A great jam by Peach Clobber, who I don't even know how she has anything left. Every time she heads over to the bench, you feel like she's just going to skate out of the arena because she's exhausted. But that brings them back to within 10 points. They made up 8 points there in that jam. Great job by
This is
Peach
gonna be a
Clobber.
close game.
And of course, a great job by all the blockers providing the holdup that was needed for Combustible to stay back while Peach Clobber was able to skate through it. But
They do a great job. The teamwork is really built with these guys. It's so cool to see.
And the crowd is loving it. And let's talk a little bit about the combination of skills that Peach Clobber brings to this. She's really interesting to watch her. She not
is.
only has the speed and the finesse,
She also
but she's got
there's
power.
an element of aggression there that you really have to be an effective jammer, and Peach has it in spades. Like, she's not going to stop. She's going to keep pushing, and
You
she's
can
going to
almost
like
see it
take
in her
whatever
face.
opening she can find.
She's sort of, her face sets, right? And she can see her focus, and you can see she's going to get through that wall.
I love it.
It's really fun to watch.
It's really cool to watch, and they all do have their different styles. But like when you see her play, Peach Clobber is such a cute name, and then you see her out there on the
Boom.
track, and it's like, whoa.
This ain't no joke.
It's no joke.
No, that's right. It's going to happen. All right. Now, coming up next, April Mayhem is going to go in there, and she's going to go up against. Who's she going against?
Is that Peach
here?
again?
I don't think it is Peach. Is it Peach again?
It's
Might
Peach
be.
again.
It is Peach again.
They're like, well, that worked last time. Let's try it again.
They exchanged a quick, nice kiss, the way Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas did in the old days of the NBA as they battled each other. And here it goes, two great roller derby girls from the roller derby nation here of Juneau, Alaska, coming to you. And here it is. They're fighting right off the bat. Peach Clobber held up as April Mayhem
Shorty
is, but Peach
Morena
Clobber
drives April back.
and here comes Peach Clobber around on the outside, and
Peach
she
is
is
through.
lead jammer. April Mayhem, meanwhile, is trying to fight through the pack. She is also getting through the pack here, but it's taken her a while. Peach Clobber fights to the outside and hit by guess who? Titan Young.
Mayhem watched Peach fall and knew to drew her back.
And Peach comes on the inside, just pure guts and determination happening now with Peach Clobber actually now fighting against jammer to jammer.
Mayhem is sticking with her pack. She really wants to keep Peach in the pack.
Peach has to cut back around. She cut on the inside there, one skate, and she got called for track cutting right there, and now she is in the
Good luck
sin
for
bin.
April Mayhem. I think at this point maybe she can break free
So this is the thing. This could seal it here with only a minute left.
if she weren't right up against just
There's
Julie
just
and
a
Shorty
minute
Morena.
06 left in this entire bout, and here it is. And
she's
this
gonna play
is
out the
amount
clock.
to a victory lap.
April
With
Mayhem.
Peach Clobber on the bench, and you can look at her on the bench. She has given everything that she has had to give. She's talking to Skady Bright on the bench there.
And
They
April
are just
Mayhem
saying-
knows she can only score points at this point. Like it's
and she can run out the clock.
she can run out the
And
clock.
that's what's going to happen here, folks. We're watching the last jam of the evening here with Brute Rosé now in control of the bout. Finally, it took until the last jam until one of the teams got in control, and it's going to go to
No
Brute
lack of
Rosé.
fight from the Cupids here.
No,
They're really
not at
trying to
all.
keep her back.
And now with only 10 seconds, 8 seconds left in this jam and only 13 seconds left in the bout, this is going to be it. You're going to hear it from the crowd here in a minute as this is the last of it here. And that's going to be it.
Just as Peach gets there. That was
That is
crazy.
the bout, folks. There you go.
Some really exciting,
Crowd is loving
excited
it.
audience members. That was a great bout.
The
That was
refs
awesome.
are loving it.
Skaty's on the mat.
Brute Rosé's with the final score of 204 to 184. And that looks like the last of it here. There's 24 seconds was left, but that was it. The jams are done. The refs are actually calling a timeout here and saying that they might have enough time for one more jam. The refs are saying there was a timeout before. They're actually saying there's a ruling. There was a timeout before the last penalty was called. And so that's going to allow them time for one more jam here.
And we get an encore.
And we get an encore performance. And with the score within 20 points here, an opportunity for Cupid's Crushers to snatch
the opportunity is
from
there.
the jaws of
Peach
defeat.
is stoking up the crowd. We've got
could
Peach
happen.
Clobber again up against Kim Bustable.
There we go. One more. It's Peach Clobber out there one more time against Kim Bustable, the matchup of the evening. And you got to say that they've all given everything they could.
Woo.
Peach Clobber coming through, and here she is.
She's through.
She's through.
Peach Clobber with
Kim
lead jammer
Bustable is not
position.
through with Skinny Bright fighting her to the outside. Skinny Bright goes down.
Gets her down.
But not before Kim Bustable gets through on the outside. Now here comes Peach Clobber on the inside. She's
Skates
getting around, and
she's
there she
so
goes.
sneaky. She is such a good jammer.
Keep hope alive. It's happening. Cupid's Crushers are coming from behind with Peach Clobber.
You know the Rosés are holding, they're breaking the pack so Bustable can get through.
But you know
but
that
not before Peach gets there.
Peach Clobber's
and she's
not
through
going to call it
again.
no matter what. She's going to keep racking up points. Calling it would be the only thing that could keep it from behind. Oh, she's out. Peach Clobber has been called out at that moment.
This jam
with
is
the
not
penalty.
over.
This jam's not over. But that's going to be it.
And
for the
Busta's
final
like,
score.
yeah.
And there she is. She's going to call it now. Kim Bustable maybe isn't going to call it.
Or she's
Coming
going to play
around.
those sneaky feet. Wow, that was a great.
But with Brute Roses now with the lead and with the only opportunity to score, and an exhausted Peach Clobber in the sin bin. I mean, you look at Peach Clobber in the sin bin right now.
That's got to be
T-Rex. She's looking at.
She played such a good game, though.
She was absolutely.
And Busta's
an
playing
amazing
really
star.
strategically in these last moments. She's trying not to use up all of her energy. Where are the blockers? Where can I go?
And you gotta say, this is just at this point kind of good sportsmanship on the part of Brute Rosés. They can call it right now and just win the bout. But they are still skating.
Actually, I don't know that they can. Maybe Peach was lead jammer.
Oh, Peach was lead jammer. My
Busta
mistake.
just has to run out the
Peach
clock
was
or
lead
until
jammer.
Peach gets back in. Peach is ready to come back in right now. Peach re-enters.
Katie Bright.
They knock her out.
Here
Hopefully
comes
she doesn't
Peach.
cut. She's
Oh,
going to get a
and
few more
just
points.
Julie lays a final
and she's
block
through.
down. And
That's
the
the
bout.
jam.
That's the bout right there.
That's the bout.
All right, well, we thought it was over. It wasn't over. It's like a Quentin Tarantino movie. You never know what's going to happen. Time moved in a different way. But there it was at the very end after the ref said actually it was extended for one more jam. We had another jam and it was a complete jam, a full 2-minute jam. And the final score is going to be Brute Rosés 218 and Cupid's Crushers 193. The action was hot, heavy, and furious out there. And in that last jam, you saw some great action. Look at these hits happening here. Boom! Knocking back, and the cut through here.
Where is
coming
she?
up right here by Peach Clobber. She just gets
Oh.
one skate out. Do they call that?
They
no,
did. That
they
was the
called
one that they called.
Skate? I thought that's where she got through.
It looked like it was over the line.
They called her through on that. I thought that was where they called her through.
Oh.
And here is on the outside. They're saying she's okay there. It was a further point in the bout when they said she had cut the track. Still showing Peach Clobber there. And here you go. Here's the spirit of roller derby.
We're back.
And
Everybody
I love
loves
this.
each other
We get to
again.
do this too. Here we go. Let's get out there and give the high fives. All right. We love it. Yeah. All right. Good time.
April's coming back. We get our high five from April Mayhem.
Great bout. All right. A lot of fun there. Man, and that's what you love. You love being a part of it. It's a big part of what makes this sport a growing thing. It's still happening. Everyone gets to be a part of it. The whole
And they're
community
all
comes
friends
in.
again now.
And I want to say,
They all love each
I want to
other.
give a high five to Peach Clobber coming through here. Here you go. Peach!
My derby wife.
Peach Clobber, all right. That was fun. They're all stars. Skady Bright coming up. Skady Bright. So much fun. So
That
much
was
fun
awesome.
to have you here today.
This was really fun.
T-Rex. So much
What
fun
a
to do
cool way
this.
to watch the game.
It's such a great bout and such a terrific fun time to have here with the Brute Rosés winning 218 over Cupid's Crushers, who came out strong, went behind, then came
Super
back
well
out.
matched game. It was all over the place.
Up and down seesaw action all night long here on 360 North. So excited to have you here, T-Rex. So excited to have everyone join us. And thanks for those of us who joined us on 360north.org and we're involved in the live chat as well. Got on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
and
cool.
said
And on
AK
TV.
and
Hi, Mom.
and
Hi,
on
Dad.
TV, of course,
Hi,
360
Grandma.
North TV. Hey,
throwing it
hi
out there.
everyone. How's it going, everyone? And thanks so much to you as well, T-Rex. Great
That was
to
super fun.
have
Thanks
you
for having
here
me.
in the booth. And thanks to all of you for watching. We're going to wrap it up from Centennial Hall here in Juneau, Alaska. That's it for this bout of Juneau
to the heart.
Rollergirls Skate to the Heart. It was the Brute Rosés beating out in the end Cupid's Crushers. And we'll see you next time right here at the Roller Derby.